What's up guys, it's Frogfordog, and this is the PowerMac G4 Cube, one of the most beautiful computers Apple has ever made. It was also a commercial failure. This thing here is pretty much just a PowerMac G4 crammed 1/4 of the size into an 8-inch cube, put in a floating acrylic shell. And that was enough to get it put in the Museum of Modern Arts. No, but really, this machine looks absolutely stunning and it is the absolute pinnacle of form over function. So let's have a look at the G4 Cube alongside all of its accessories. But before we do that, I gotta tell you about our sponsor. Hey, do you own a Mac? Ooh, that's a pretty sad selection of ports you got there. Well, luckily you can fix that with this video's sponsor, Ugreen, and their product, the Ugreen RevoDock Pro 6-in-1 Hub. You've got tons of USB ports on this thing. There are 2 USB Type A and 2 USB Type C ports, all capable of speeds up to 10 gigabits per second, meaning that you can take full advantage of all your high-speed devices. There's even a 100-watt USB-C power pass-through, allowing to keep your device charged even while using the dock. And on the end, there's a HDMI port capable of 4K output at 60 frames per second, letting you output to ultra high resolution displays or even to 1080p gaming monitors at high refresh rates. But what if you want to have dual monitor outputs? Well, bam! Get the 7-in-1 hub. It's nearly identical to the 6-in-1 hub, with the main difference being the addition of a second HDMI port. Perfect for all your dual display needs. If this sounds like something you want, check out the Ugreen RevoDock 6-in-1 hub using the link in the description below to get 30% off your purchase. This right here is the PowerMac G4 Cube, the actual cube itself. First thing you'll notice about this guy is that it's enclosed in this massive acrylic shell, giving it this floating liquid glass look. That's an iOS 26 reference. I would personally say that this computer and all the other accessories that come with it actually match the liquid glass aesthetic more than Apple's actual hardware does. Unfortunately, while being made out of acrylic looks extremely nice out of the box, after a few years it starts to look kinda bad. This thing has so many micro scratches in it. From some angles it looks very beat up, and it's honestly extremely hard to keep this thing in good condition. And if you're not lucky, the acrylic can just straight up crack and even break, which is just so devastating, honestly. And that's honestly fairly prone to happening because the whole computer is supported up by the acrylic shell. There's no base, there's no stand, the acrylic bottom is the base and stand. The entire weight of the computer falls on this thing, and you just hope that it doesn't break. Some of the upsides though is that it looks like it's floating, and that's cool. I'm going to be using a microfiber cloth to stop this thing from getting any more scratches on it, and we're going to be putting it on its front. Alright, there we go. Taking a look at the top of the PowerMac G4, you'll notice a lot of vents, because well, it has a PowerPC processor, which are kinda known for throwing out a lot of heat and getting really hot. And especially with how much they had to miniaturize to get a G4 in this tiny little form factor in the year 2000 was kind of insane, not gonna lie. Right here is a capacitive power button. Well, it's not really a button, it's just a touch surface that acts as a button, which means that if you accidentally brush your hand on top of it, it will turn on the computer. And down here is the slot loading DVD drive, which makes this thing really look like a toaster when you put a disc in, but damn is it ever cool. You can actually notice there's a crack here in the acrylic. It's actually not too bad, there's much worse examples, but what you might see is this line here. Now that's not a crack, that's actually a line from the molding process. If you look at the corners, there's also a line that goes down here on pretty much every corner, and again, that's just part of the manufacturing process of the acrylic shell. Taking a look at the side, you can see this circle right here. It's clear that Steve Jobs wasn't very proud of having this circle on the computer, but you gotta have some kind of antenna reception into the thing, because it's basically just a big metal shell inside an acrylic shell. Heading over to the back, you can see all the legal stuff and the model name, which looks very fancy. Taking a look at the bottom of the G4 Cube, you can find a whole bunch of ports. Actually, this is the only place you can find ports on this computer. This computer right here is the absolute pinnacle of form over function, because anytime you want to plug something into the computer, you have to reach underneath and plug it in here. And that's kind of one of the biggest downsides of this computer. It's an absolute pain to use. I mean, you could use it laid down like this, but why would you want to if you paid so much for it? You could also imagine how difficult it will be to reach around and try and plug stuff in at the bottom, which is why you have this cutout here, but you're constantly going to be scratching the plastic and messing things around. I'm really surprised that this thing is in any kind of good condition. Here we have a proprietary power plug, and we'll get into why this is needed in a moment. We have a modem port for dial-up internet, 2 USB ports. I'm not sure if this is USB 1 or USB 2. Here's hoping it's USB 2. We've got 2 Firewire 400 ports. We've also got an Ethernet port. We've got our VGA port, and we got a... what the hell is this thing? Ah yes, this right here is an ADC port, or an Apple Display Connector, which is Apple's failed attempt at creating their own proprietary display connector. It actually does have some really cool advantages compared to DVI and VGA, which we'll get into in a moment. And lastly on the bottom, we have this thing. To find out what this thing does, we're going to have to tip the machine onto its top. Like this. And now it's upside down. This bit right here hides the biggest party trick of the Power Mac G4 Cube. If we simply press on it, it lifts up and actually turns into a handle. But what is this handle used for? Well, it's used to pull all of the internals out of the computer. Let's slide all of this over for a moment and look at the internals of the Power Mac G4 Cube. Have a look at all of this. Hey, this is our RAM. Yep, this thing is upgradable. Even a crazy, wacky design like this is still upgradable. Apple today would never do this. If we have a look at this side, we can find our old desktop-sized hard drive and our DVD drive. And you know, they're just kind of chilling alongside the computer, and all these boards on the inside. Just look at this design, it's crazy. And I love how this entire shaft right here is just designed for the handle to go into. You could take it with you. Looking at the front, we don't really have anything but this orange dot to show you which way to put it back in. On here, we have a slot that would be used for an airport card, and apparently mine doesn't actually have one. Allow me to demonstrate putting the computer back in the shell. There we go. Just take a look at this acrylic. It is starting to crack because, well, the entire weight of the computer goes on here. So there's a reason why these things don't last. It's actually starting to move down here a little bit. I really think they should have put at least something on the bottom here to prevent this from happening, but oh well. One issue with these clear acrylic Apple devices is the fact that dirt and crap not only gets on the outside of the device, but gets all onto the inside of the device, and then you have to disassemble the device to actually clean it to make it look decent. This one was in very, very rough shape. The house I got it from was absolutely disgusting. The people who lived there were pretty grotty, and there were about 7 cats all running around doing God knows what in the house. It stank, it was a terrible place, and I saved this little G4 Cube from that terrible environment. But I actually recorded some footage of me cleaning this computer and the actual keyboard itself, which I shall play now. Holy shit, this thing is so grotty. Oh, it's horrific. Oh, look how dirty this thing is, right? Give it a good scrubbing. It's already looking better. But clearly, a lot of the grime is actually sitting inside the acrylic, so I'm gonna have to figure out how to disconnect that, get inside and really give this thing a deep cleansing. But the acrylic is actually in pretty good shape. There's only like small cracks on the bottom, so quite frankly, this will come up really, really nicely. That is starting to clean up pretty nicely, not gonna lie. Alright, so this piece here popped out of the bottom, and now you see how loose this is. This should be able to just come out. Oh, oh, good lord. Oh, god damn, look at all the hair on that. Oh, jeez, that's yucky. Inside of the fan grill for this computer, there was literally a dead spider in there. Are you serious? Make way for one of the most disgusting keyboards known to man. Oh, good lord, this thing is horrible. Oh my god, this is the most disgusting keyboard I've ever seen, and we're gonna try cleaning it. Oh, look at that, it's already starting to look a bit better. We're gonna go over this entire thing here and clean up this awful, awful keyboard. Oh, look at that. The underside of this is very bad. This is all gonna be cleaned up. I might have to take this thing apart. Check this out. I took all the keys off and you can just see how absolutely disgusting this is. All the dead bugs that are sitting in here, and what is this? And then you can see the keys. This is how grotty each and every one are. And now for the satisfying bit you've all been waiting for. This is gonna take a while, but look at that, already a massive difference. Alright, check this out. I've been cleaning this for a while and you can see that it definitely looks a lot better. It's not perfect because there's really small areas that you have to get into, but other than that, this is looking fantastic. Look at the back. It just takes forever to clean transparent stuff, and I think this is looking pretty good. Look at how clean this is looking now, and we're starting to put some of the keys on. You can see the difference between the dirty ones and the clean ones, just the sheer difference, how dirty this cloth is getting from doing it. Wow, look at just how clean this keyboard is. You can really see the blue shine through on the keys. It looks really nice. The letters are still a bit yellowed. And you can see just how dirty the cloth is. Oh my god. Well, that was a nice little throwback to March 2024? Jeez, I've really been putting off this video, huh? As for the computer itself, that's pretty much it. It's actually a rather simple little device. The PowerMac G4 Cube didn't just come with the computer by itself, like modern Mac Minis do. It actually came with a bunch of accessories. One of them is this. This is the Apple Pro USB keyboard, whatever they called it, but this was a fairly standard keyboard that they offered at the time. They introduced a version like it with the iMac G3, but then they revised the design for the G4 models, which is what I have here. This is your very typical membrane style keyboard, and yeah, these things really don't feel fantastic. They're average at best. Even though this one was in horribly disgusting condition, as you saw from the footage, this one doesn't actually feel too bad compared to others that I've seen, but this is still a very average C or even D tier keyboard. There's just absolutely nothing special about this thing at all. But what I do like is that everything is transparent, the keys are transparent, the housing's transparent. Like, look at the back of this thing, even the USB connector. Even the USB connector is transparent. Wouldn't have been this yellow from the factory though. It does have this flimsy, cheap feeling stand, which I've never liked because these things are so easy to break, but you can do that to prop up the keyboard to a better typing position. And it is kind of a necessity because without it, the typing position is just horrible, so this actually makes it somewhat better. I think I like more what Apple did with the keyboard they released after this, which was just make that adjustment permanent, and yeah. I have all those keyboards, but I'm not getting them out for this video because I've already got so much junk I had to get for this one. The only other interesting thing about this keyboard is that it has two USB ports, one on either end, here and here. This is also the keyboard that removed the power button on the keyboard itself, because the previous revision of this keyboard actually did have a power button, but this one doesn't. But these things right here are actually a little bit more special. These things look super, super cool. It's just a clear acrylic ball of just audio goodness. These are Harman Kardon speakers, and people really like these things. Now, I haven't actually listened to anything through them, but we will once we get this computer set up. These ones, I believe, did actually come in the box with the PowerMac G4 Cube. You could also buy them separately, but yeah, people apparently really love these things, so I'm excited to try these out and see how they sound. And to top it all off, I have a period correct Apple 20-inch cinema display. There are people who really like these displays. I'm not one of them, but it matches this entire setup so perfectly that I'm probably never going to get rid of this thing, no matter how much space it takes up in this house. So your next question may be, Fruckfaduck, why are you not a fan of the 20-inch cinema display? Well, allow me to explain. This display has a fixed, hardwired ADC connector, and that's it. You can't unplug it, you can't replace it. This is the only thing you can plug in with the monitor. There isn't even a power plug, which means that you can only use it with a Mac that has an ADC connector like the Power Mac G4 Cube. And unfortunately, Apple really didn't support the connector standard that long. Not long after this, Mac started dropping the ADC port, and pretty much none of their laptops ever used it either. Which means that if you want to connect this thing to anything but a period correct Mac, you have to use a massive, gargantuan adapter that converts ADC to DVI and power. It's a complete and utter mess and ruins any setup you try and use it with. For example, if you want to use it with this PowerBook, you have to have this big honking adapter here. This bit goes to power, ADC goes in here, and then this bit wraps all around to here. You got USB and DVI. If you guys are looking at this and thinking, that's not so bad, well, just remember it takes a setup that is just one cable and then turns it into this. It's a mess! Some people really like the way the stand was designed, but I don't, because this display pretty much sits on your table and then you can use this thing to tilt it back to most angles, which is actually kind of cool, but also I don't like it at all. But it kind of has the Surface Pro issue where it works really well on nice flat surfaces like this, but on literally any kind of cramped space such as what I'm trying to film with this setup right now, it's a horrible stand design and just gets constantly in the way. Trying to store this thing literally anywhere is an absolute pain because this stand is not confidence inspiring at all. So this here is pretty much a complete Power Mac G4 setup with one exception. I don't have a Pro mouse. I don't have that mouse, so I'm going to be using a regular USB mouse, which kind of sucks, but this still all looks really nice. But you know what else looks really nice and also came with the Power Mac G4 Cube? This thing right here. What the hell is this thing? Ah yes, this is the power supply. And see, this is why the Power Mac needs a proprietary connector, because this not only drives the computer itself, but it also drives the monitor, because the ADC connector also powers the computer too, which is really nice for a one cable setup, but you need this absolute honker sitting under your desk. This thing has absolutely seen better days. Look at this. The shell on this thing is absolutely cracked. Look at that, it's like missing chunks out of the plastic. But yeah, they even bothered to make the power supply look nice. It's now time to set up the G4 Cube, turn it on, and start using it. Let's grab our microfiber cloth, take the cube, and plop it on its front here, so we can expose the ports. Yeah, this kind of sucks that this is how you have to plug things into your Power Mac G4 Cube every single time. There you go, that's the USB. There's only two USBs, by the way, so once you use up your keyboard and your mouse, you're pretty much donezo's. I mean, you can also use the USBs on the keyboard too, but they're not fast. Actually, I just realized I am gonna have to plug the mouse into here because, well, I need to plug in a USB to boot off of, so that's gonna be really fun. Also for the mouse, I'm gonna be plugging in this little guy because I'm gonna be using, or at least trying to use, my MX Master 3S. I've got no clue if this is gonna work, but I'm gonna try anyways. Next thing we're gonna plug in is our ADC connector, so we can drive and power our monitor at the same time. That just plugs in like that, and actually uses plastic clips to unplug. Certainly better than having to screw it in like you had to do with VGA and DVI at the time. Well, it turns out after a quick Google search and a quick rechecking of the ports, I can't actually use these speakers. I can only use them with an iMac G4. Why? Because the Power Mac G4 Cube doesn't have any kind of audio input. It has nothing. What were you meant to do with this thing? The ones that Apple provided for this computer were powered by USB. So, thanks Apple. This is an ergonomic nightmare. Like, the keyboard cable's so short. Let me... Okay, right, sure, we'll go with that, I guess. Maybe I can tuck this under here. Wow, so neat and clean. Oh, I realized I just did all that and I didn't even plug in the power. We're gonna have to plug in the power. I believe we've got the power plugged in now, so we can flip it back up this way and make sure the ports are all facing the right way. Yeah, wow, that's just to plug in one thing. This is really not that usable. You really do need a USB hub/dock to make this thing work properly. The cables only kinda look like a mess, but that's because I've got the power supply stuff all on the table. If I didn't, then the one cable ADC setup would actually look so sweet. Let's turn on this computer, not by pressing the power button on top of the machine, but let's try by pressing the monitor itself. I'm gonna get a close-up of the monitor here so you can see what the verbose messages says. Yep, and that's it. That's what it shows, and then it dies. So let's reinstall macOS. Oh no, I have to plug a USB drive into my Mac. What am I going to do? Well, I have the drive here, but we're gonna have to tip the whole machine upside down to even get to it. You can really see just how impractical this machine really is. No, I didn't want to turn it on. See, that's what I'm saying. You accidentally press the capacitive button on here and it just turns the whole machine on. And look at that, the mouse just works. But what is this? There's a disk with Linux on it? Let's try booting into this, or is the same thing going to happen that happened before? Clearly the previous owner tried to install Linux on this thing and it just didn't work, so yeah. While I'm sitting on this screen, what happens if I try to press the eject button? Oh no. The drive doesn't work. Oh no. I can't show you it rising up. Aw, man. The screen is extremely dim. It looks like it's tinted very yellow. Everything around here is tinted red or pink. Yeah, this display has definitely seen better days. I'm pretty sure I grabbed this for free. How long is it going to take? We don't know, so I'm just gonna... Oh, what are you doing now, buddy? Because I know with the Linux installer, it was doing this too, where it just goes to a black screen. Worst comes to worst, I could try with a normal display, but we'll see what happens. Well, it appears that I've given up on these hopes and dreams, so we're gonna swap out this monitor, and now we're just gonna take this guy and say goodbye, because we're gonna use a different monitor and see if it works. And instead, we're gonna be using this guy. Acer monitor from the garage that used to actually be my main monitor. I love VGA so much and having to screw in the screws to make it not fall out. I'm so glad we don't do this anymore. It turned on the computer while I was doing this. Wow, this setup's turned into a mess rather quickly now, hasn't it? Wait, is that a Linux? That's a Linux! What? Wait, it's doing stuff! Wait, it's like actually doing stuff, so it is the monitor. It's not working with ADC, because ADC is some weird, stupid proprietary crap. It's actually working with VGA, what the hell? I guess we're trying Linux on this thing then. I don't know what the hell this is. What have you done to the cube? Now, it's very obviously some Linux CD that's been put in here. Oh my god, okay. So, it appears that the hard drive inside this G4 cube is a 20 gig hard drive. Meanwhile, the USB I was trying to install macOS with is 16 gigs. So it quite literally is almost the exact same size. F10 start. To be completely honest with you, I don't want to run Linux on this thing. I just want to put macOS Tiger on it and call it a day. But while it's in here, I might as well see what it's about, I guess. Yeah, half the time the power button doesn't work. See, this is why I don't like capacitive buttons. It's not doing anything. I'm literally putting my whole palm on it and nothing. Let's go to macOS. Big Apple logo, because this is running at a very low resolution. Woohoo, let's walk through the setup. Let's use English as our main language. Then we prepare the installation. And we wait. Oh no, we don't have to actually wait that long. That's good. Welcome to the macOS 10 installer. Next. Next. Agree. I know. Disk utility. Let's see what the hell we can do with that. D-Band 2 PowerPC, so that's the Linux that was attempted to be installed on here. Let's erase the drive. We're gonna do macOS journaled. Look at that. Yes. Yes. Install. The hard drive works. It's not dead. Well, I think that's pretty much it for this part. We sit here, we wait, and then we should have macOS up and running on this cube. The installation should be complete on this thing. Let's see. It turn on. Yes. Yes, there we go. Let's click on Australia. Spinning beach ball. Yep. Don't transfer my information. Okay, we're just gonna skip past that apparently. Yeah, my computer does not connect to the internet at the moment. And then of course it forces us to put our information in, because why wouldn't it? Hopefully this works. Ah, beautiful. Stay in touch, keep me up to date. No thank you. Nope, I have to give my information. This is for a large business. Yeah, we have a large business and we're retired, because that makes all the sense in the world. Let's select Adelaide, South Australia. Don't forget to register. Yeah, okay, mate. Here we are. And there we are. The installation's done and this thing has been restored back to macOS Tiger. Well, now that we've got macOS installed on this thing, I think it's now time to try the original monitor again. Which means I now have to disassemble this entire setup once again. Yeah! Maybe it might work this time, who knows? Lots of hard drive and DVD noises. Of course, for the DVD, I straight up can't get out of the computer. Huh, okay, well, I don't really know what exactly is going on here, but I can't get it to output. So I was sitting here trying to troubleshoot this until I came across a post on Reddit. Someone here talking about their display issues, and then down here, the reason it's not working is because the 20/22 inch requires a video card with 32 megs of RAM or higher. So you know what? That is probably why I cannot get this thing to output to this monitor. As soon as any kind of graphics kick in, it just dies. I don't even want to begin to imagine how much a video card for this thing will cost, especially in today's economy, so yeah, we're just gonna have to swap the monitor back out again. Alrighty-o, so here we have the PowerMac G4 Cube up and running right here with our Acer monitor this time, and yeah, it seems to work. So clearly some kind of GPU thing. So here we are on a fresh install of macOS Tiger. Now what I'm going to try doing is I'm going to try fixing this resolution because it's a little bit squished right now. Let's do 1920 by 1080 and let's see what happens. Yes, it works. Wow, this looks actually pretty nice. We've got a 450 MHz G4 processor, 192 megabytes of RAM, which is an interesting number. No built-in audio, so this is one of the few modern Macs with no audio built in at all. Apparently some prototypes had a speaker, but this one doesn't. Here we go, graphics and displays. ATY Rage 128 Pro. And yeah, this does prove the theory correct. We only have 16 megs of VRAM. Therefore, it's just not going to drive that 20-inch cinema display, which is kind of a shame, not gonna lie. Here's the disk that is currently stuck in the G4 Cube, which is some D-band PowerPC, some kind of Linux thing. I don't really know what's up with this. Let's look at the README. Do you have the macOS installation media and know how to use it? D-band removes the operating system when it wipes a hard disk. What is this for? Is this a Linux installation or just a tool? But of course, we can't eject it because the DVD drive's a bit stuck. Alright, I got some tweezers here. I'm literally going to put this in and grab the disc. Let's press eject and see what happens. Let's press eject again. Oh, I got it! Oh my god! Oh my god! I did it! So there we go. The disc is now free. I can't believe that actually worked. Out of curiosity, let's try putting the disc back in. I can always pull it out again. Okay. It appears that it's just broken / old. It's not really working properly. If I try again. Yeah, so clearly it can work. It's just that it's a bit stuck. I don't really want to put this in again because this is so loud when the disc is in, but there you go. That's a demonstration of the DVD drive. When the hard drive powers down on this thing and there's no DVD inside, this computer is literally silent because there is no fan inside of here. Let's have a look at this. We'll see if it works through the keyboard, but I highly doubt it because the keyboard's really meant for just... Oh, okay, never mind, it works. It's a full-on USB hub. Using the keyboard as a USB hub seems to be a great way to bypass the horrific port layouts on this computer, but yeah, let's see what's on this drive. Alrighty-o, let's have a look what's in this folder. Let's do installer.command, and let's see if we can get this to work. Okay, installation complete, process completed. Does that mean it's in our applications now? We got Minecraft G4 edition. Let's open it and see if it even works. Why is macOS 9 even bothering to start? Are you trying to tell me literally any part of this uses... What? Why does this need macOS 9 for? But no, seriously, why would this need macOS 9? I need a macOS classic system folder, really? Why? It's Minecraft. Since when would Minecraft run on macOS 9? Okay, I guess no Minecraft then. We get to play chess. Yippee! Chess! Let's do this! Oh no, I was meant to move it 2 spaces. Yeah, let's do that. It takes a little bit of time to calculate the move. It's kind of like a real chess player. Oh, spinning beach ball. It's not happy right now. Yeah, it's been nearly a minute now and it's still trying to calculate this move. The whole window is just not responding now. Oh no, the whole system's been brought down to its knees. Look, the spinning beach ball's on the menu bar too. What if I press Command Q? No, it's seized up. It's seized up trying to play chess. It got one move in, and it was like, damn, your move was too good. We're just gonna crash now, I guess. Well, rip the G4 cube, and I'm kind of sad that I couldn't get Minecraft to work because that's a game about cubes. You literally place and break cubes. The whole world's made of cubes. I couldn't get anything to run on here. I wanted to do some stuff, but oh well. Honestly, I think this thing is more of a display piece anyway. Once you've used the G4 Mac, it's pretty much the same experience all around. And that is the Power Mac G4 Cube. One of Apple's most beautiful commercial failures they've ever made. But why did this thing fail? Well, it was really expensive. And that's probably 90% of the reason for it. It's also severely impractical, like every time you want to plug something into this thing, you gotta reach in on the bottom. Hopefully in this video I was able to demonstrate just how impractical and downright silly some of the design ideas on this computer was, but it's all in the name of making it a floating Mac cube. Yeah. After this thing flopped, Apple would try a mini Mac once again with the Mac Mini, and that was significantly more successful. Why? Because it was cheap. It was an entry-level Mac, what it probably should have been. This is just too expensive for most people. But a true successor to the Power Mac G4 Cube came out in 2013 with the 2013 Mac Pro. That's right, the trash can model. These things share so many similarities. For example, Apple put mechanisms on both of these to make them easily repairable. On the G4 Cube, as we demonstrated, you flip it upside down, pull the guts out. On the 2013 Mac Pro, you flick this and lift the shell up like so. Now this really looks like a trash can. Well, most of them. The things that you could upgrade on both of these machines were quite limited. This thing also didn't sell well and was also prohibitively expensive, and a severe letdown to the previous gen Mac Pros. But then, Apple's next crack at this would finally see success with the Mac Studio. Finally, a miniature cube-style Mac for the pro market that actually makes sense. I just find it funny though that it took Apple 20 years to get this formula to finally work for a computer. If anything, this is a first gen Mac Studio, this is a second gen Mac Studio, and what we have now is a third gen Mac Studio, and you know what? It makes sense. Either way, this computer looks very fancy and that's why I like it. It's a floating Mac cube. That was all they needed to get people to be like, wow. My name is Frogford. You can say that however you want, I really don't care. New videos whenever I like. Consider becoming a channel member like all these people on the screen have. You get some bonus videos, early access to my upcoming videos, custom Discord server roles, and your very own Minecraft server, all rolled into one. Starts at $1 a month. And yeah, that's about it. That's the end of the video. Thanks for watching.